I have specifically decided to add this video. It has got nothing specifically to do about better health for you, but it is bringing to the fore the people who have given their time for better health for others and how a lot of them have not been acknowledged as they should have been. So let's look at the unsung heroes as I put them. These are people who have devoted their life for the cause of science, healing, and humanity. Unfortunately, as they did not fit into the existing system of thought, they have been overlooked, ostracized, shunned from society. Along with them, their massive knowledge that could assist millions of sufferers has been lost at times. Some have been recognized and ideas implemented, fully or partially, to suit the needs of the era. Others have not been recognized, which is very sad indeed. I'm attempting to bring to the fore some of these unrecognized valiant medicos, scientists, learned people, to provide some credit to their work and thinking of humanity first and everything else last. So let us look at some of the unsung heroes in health. Some of these have been recognized. So Dr. Louis Pasteur, he was the one who started pasteurization, who looked at vaccines and who came up with the germ theory. Dr. Joseph Lister, to overcome sepsis, he talked about antiseptic, washing hands, cleaning hands, etc., etc. Florence Nightingale, who brought nursing care to a different level of care completely, because she noticed that nursing care was equally or more important at times than just good medicine. Dr. Salk and Dr. Sabin, who came up with the polio vaccine, and today polio is, I think, non-existent around the world. Dr. Alexander Fleming, who came up with penicillin, and which was the precursor to today's antibiotics. Dr. Christian de Duve, he won the Nobel Prize in 1974 for lysosome discoveries, which was related to curing the self. It had something to do with fasting and the effect of fasting and the lysosome activity. And Dr. Yoshinori Oshumi, who has won the Nobel Prize in 2016 for autophagy, which is related to intermittent fasting, gap between meals, and how the body reacts when we are fasting, and it helps cleanse the system and heal the system. Now, some of the other unsung heroes in health that I believe: Dr. Marie Curie, she discovered radium, and then the effect of that was it was used for X-rays, which have been harmful in the early days. Today they have come down in dosage and they are much better. Homeopathy in the USA, which was banned, they used to produce the medicine, they used to supply to the rest of the world, but it was banned for prescription in the 50s and 60s in the USA. Even today there's a ban on foreign medicines. You cannot go to Canada and pick up a prescription for a month and come across, purely because USA wishes that they should make money out of their pharma drug system. The big thing that comes out of a bolt from the blue for most people who are not aware of it is the Cuban health system. People talk about Cuba, useless, small country, no use, communist, etc., etc. But for those who have looked at it, and Mr. Moore has made a movie about it as well, when he has compared different medical systems, and he has talked about the fact that the Cuban health system is one of the best in the world. And that is a great feather in the cap when you consider that leading world nations with lots of money are still struggling way behind. And then Dr. Masaru Emoto, who talked about the crystalline structure of the water molecule and how it changes with the effects of emotion, words, and script. Then there is the German New Medicine, which was founded by Dr. Reike Gerd Hammer. He called it German New Medicine because he also thought it was a new paradigm in medicine, and it also brought new consciousness. It is the awareness that our organism possesses an inexhaustible creativity and remarkable self-healing capabilities. It is the recognition that each cell of our body is endowed with the biological wisdom we share with all living beings. Dr. Hammer isolated links between emotions and cell damage and thus disease. He had worked particularly with cancer, and he was able to reverse cancer just by changing the mental attitude and thus the disease process. He did this with a lot of patients and has had very good results. All medical theories, whether conventional or alternative, past or current, are based on the concept that diseases are malfunctions of the organism. Now, the Dr. Hammer's discoveries show, however, that nothing in nature is disease, but always biologically meaningful. So he's trying to say that if I've got a disease, it is a management issue. The body is trying to manage the problem and thus presenting as disease. It is not really a problem. So according to the 5 biological laws, diseases are not malignancies as claimed by conventional medicine, but are instead age-old biological special programs of nature created for our survival. So they're actually giving us a tip to say how we should behave, but we have overlooked that aspect of it. The 5 biological laws are in perfect harmony with the spiritual laws. Because of this truth, the Spanish call the new medicine La Medicina Sagrada, the sacred medicine. Based on strict scientific criteria, the 5 biological laws of the new medicine are applicable to practically all diseases known in medicine and are verifiable in each patient's case. Dr. Hammer has proved a lot of that. Since 1981, Dr. Hammer's findings have been tested more than 30 times by several physicians and professional associations supported by signed documents. All documents attest to the 100% accuracy of his discoveries. Then we turn to Michael Faraday. Now, Michael Faraday, we know, was more a physics person related to electricity, electromagnetism, etc. But what he has to say is something really very interesting. Nothing is too wonderful to be true if it is consistent with the laws of nature. So here again he's talking about nature and its effects. Faraday is most famous for his contributions to the understanding of electricity and electrochemistry. In this work, he was driven by his belief in the uniformity of nature and the interconvertibility of various forces, which he conceived early on as fields of force. So here he's talking about force or energy which is interconverted. Now, who are the unsung heroes in health in Bharat? This is not in any particular order. I've just put the names in random order. So I'll take it from the top. Dr. Khadar Valli. He's an eminent scientist who went to the US to study and found that all his studies were going to waste because the effect of research was not transferring to patients and their suffering. So he returned and then he has started working on millet for the last 20-25 years. And today he's known as the Millet Man of India, and he's getting phenomenal results with the use of millets in various different ways. He also uses some other herbs and spices and their decoctions to help alleviate different diseases. His patients have overcome a lot of illnesses naturally. Dr. B.M. Hegde. He's a great man. He's achieved a lot in the form of conventional medicine. He was an examiner in cardiology in US, in Ireland, etc., etc. Well known, retired as Chancellor of Manipal University. And somewhere along the way, he also was enthused by Indian medicine in terms of Ayurveda, Shivambu, acupressure, acupuncture, massage, etc., yoga. And he realized that Western medicine was not looking at the cause. So he makes a very frank statement today. He says Western medicine is very good for emergency medicine, but for all other things, natural therapies, Ayurveda, yoga, etc. has got a long way that can help people better. Dr. Manu Kothari, another authority in medicine, who has come out with the facts and figures about cancer, its management, conservative management, heart attacks and their conservative management, and he has figures to prove that. He has written many books about it, and again he has been sidelined because nobody wants to listen to him, because that reduces your income. We cannot do surgery, we cannot operate on heart patients because he believes you don't need to. A very interesting name I came across as part of my research, Dr. Himmatwar Bavaskar. I had not heard about him either at all. He comes from the Mallar region, which is in the Konkan area somewhere, and his work with scorpion stings and the use of poisons has been recognized worldwide, but not in Bharat. I'll repeat the name again, Dr. Himmatwar Bavaskar. His work on scorpion stings and use of poisons has been recognized worldwide, but not in Bharat. How sad. Dr. Arun Samsi, one of my teachers, he was the first one to start the sports injuries clinic in India, in Mumbai. And there's a Sirsi herbalist who I know is a tribal healer who has again got enormous following and gets magical results for a hell of a lot of people. Unsung heroes for Bharat again continue on. Dr. David Prasad Shetty is a cardiac surgeon who has changed the face of cardiac surgery. He does a lot of work, charitable work. He does a lot of work for young kids, and he's known world over and very eminent within India, very busy and still trying to do better. Dr. Mashelkar, a very eminent scientist, he was instrumental in ensuring that the turmeric patent, which was driven by a US company, was not given because he fought for the fact that turmeric was a natural product and it could not be patented. And that also stemmed the rod for all other patents of natural products, because one of the problems that was coming up was all natural products were going to be patented and charged heaps, and we would have to pay royalty to them just for using turmeric or using ginger, etc. The Satya Sai Baba Hospital, Puttaparthi, I have specifically nominated that here because one of the big things as part of the administration and organization right from the time Satya Sai Baba was alive and even today is the fact that a lot of his followers, disciples and well-wishers and people prepared to put effort into it, offer services across the world, come there on 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks holiday, give their time free. The top consultants, Satya Sai Baba Hospital offers a good platform for them, but they offer their services free and the people benefit. Now a small unknown here, Dr. R. Tongaonkar. He's a general surgeon, or he was a general surgeon. He used to do a lot of hernia repair, and he found that the netting that was used, which was commercially available in medical shops, was very expensive, so he decided to use a certain specific type of mosquito net, and he brought the cost down ridiculously to a few cents rather than dollars and large amount. Arvind Joshi is based in Pune. He's a scholar in Shivambu. He also uses mantras for healing, and he has been studying flowers now for the last 25 years and getting phenomenal benefit with using flowers and flower essence and flower powdering, etc. etc. Panta Pradinidhi, who was responsible for the revival of Surya Namaskar in the early 1900s, in the 20th century, 1920s, 30s, 40s, and he brought it to the fore, and he tried to inculcate people into the freedom movement by ensuring they were strong using Surya Namaskar. Myself, I have now taken it upon myself to propagate scientific Surya Namaskar revival, where we are trying to take it back to the ancient days as how Surya Namaskar used to be practiced. Lord Krishna used to practice Surya Namaskar, where one Surya Namaskar took 4 minutes, and we are in the process of emulating that slowly. Recently, I came across Lalit Kapoor. He's an ex-IITian, and he is propagating plant-based whole food diet, and he's doing a tremendous job based in the US. He's educating people about how you can revert to better health, free from disease, and come off medicines, etc., but just by going on plant-based whole food diet. Now I'm going to go on to occupational therapy, which is one of my fields, and I feel there are a lot of people that should be thanked for their outstanding work over the last so many decades. Firstly, I would like to mention my thanks and congratulations to Eleanor Clark Slagle and 6 others who were the founders of OT post World War I. This was in the US. If not for them, I wouldn't be here today. The next person I would like to really bring to attention was Mrs. Kamlabai Nimkar, who was an American who married an Indian, came to India, settled here, and then realized that India needs occupation therapy. She went back to America, studied occupation therapy in her later years, and then came back and started the OT school in 1950 in India, which fortunately I can say proudly I belong to that school in Mumbai. And she started occupation therapy course there. Following Kamlabai Nimkar, we had an able leader in Mrs. Meera Shahani, who ruled the roost for nearly 30 years, which was 6 years and then 87, nearly 32 years. And she really brought occupation therapy from the diploma to the degree and to a master's level, etc., and brought focus on the potential of occupation therapy. I'm sure a lot of occupation therapists around the world coming from India today owe their thanks to Mrs. Shahani. Then one of my friends, Mr. Vikas Padde, who is currently based in Adelaide, Australia. He had the good fortune to be treating Sunil Gavaskar in one of his first sports injuries that he had. And the beauty of the treatment was he attended Dr. Samsi's clinic, and Dr. Samsi sent him to the occupation therapy department to provide a special splint. And Mr. Padde created a splint which was invisible from the outside, but he could wear and go and play his game again safely. And this was proven by Gavaskar as well. Then Mr. M.R. Kulkarni, a very senior person who did a hell of a lot for mental health and intellectual handicap, working from VM Institute, Ahmedabad. Mr. Subhash Apte, he has spent his lifetime working with intellectual handicapped, and he has been working a hell of a lot on improving clients' rights, and today we can reap the benefits of it by seeing that disabled people, handicapped people are getting their dues in India, and I would say Mr. Apte has been one of the people at the forefront of that work. Mr. Babulal Panchal, or BK Panchal, he has been working with visually handicapped for a long time now, most of his life. And he was instrumental in introducing cricket to the visually handicapped. And today we have cricket matches for visually handicapped, and they are now having an outlet in terms of playing sport. Now we turn to a few other diseases. Diabetes. Today we have a Dr. P. Tripathi who is reversing diabetes in Pune by the ton. He has got nearly 3,500-4,000 people who are recovering from diabetes, and nobody wants to know about it. The allopathic medical doctors don't want to touch him. Similarly, Dr. Jagannath Dikshit, he has been talking about, he's again a mainstream doctor who has worked with obesity and who has understood diabetes differently, and he has explained it as such in his books, and he has found close to 25,000 people have changed their lives just by going on a 2 meals a day routine, where he permits people to eat whatever they want in 55 minutes and nothing in between, and do minimum 10,000 steps or 1 hour of exercise every day. He started with obesity, and he is reversing that with so many people, but as part of the obesity reversal, a lot of diabetics have found that their diabetes also is disappearing. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the name of the Canadian doctor, but there's a Canadian doctor fighting the system regarding reversal of diabetes as well. Now, coming to cancer. Now, this is a very, very interesting and a sore point that I'm going to touch on at length. Dr. Hammer, who I talked about, German New Medicine, the innovation of German New Medicine, based in Germany. When he found that cancer was reversible and he started getting results, eventually Dr. Hammer was deregistered by his medical body because he was not on mainstream medicine. Similarly, Dr. Simoncelli, who argued that vitamin C and fungal infections were the cause of cancer, he was getting very good results with his treatment. He was also somewhere down the track deregistered from his country to practice. These are all mainstream doctors. Now, there was a Hoxie's treatment which was beneficial for certain types of cancers, and this was done by a lay person, and the medical fraternity pounced on it and did not let him progress further. They stopped him. Today he's gone across the border to Tijuana, and they have a clinic there which is propagating that treatment. All Hoxie's treatment, the person who did it wanted was, he wanted an undertaking from the medical profession that they would not refuse anyone who was unable to afford the treatment. That treatment should be given free. You can charge as much as you want for the rest of the people, but if people can't afford it, they should be given free. And the medical fraternity deferred on that, so he was not prepared to pass on that knowledge and information, and thus the big conflict. Similarly, Dr. Gerson, a German physician who came to New York after the war, who practiced, who found that natural foods, fruits and vegetables, started reversing cancer. Again, when he got to an adequate threshold of cases recovering, he was told not to practice, and today Dr. Gerson therapy, as it is known, is forbidden in the US to be practiced. His daughter can teach it in California but can't practice it. And again, they have a clinic in Tijuana in Mexico, just across the border, and people can go there and get their treatment there. How sad. USA cannot get it, but people can go across the border and get it. Similarly, Dr. Holt in Perth, Australia. He was again a mainstream doctor who actually created a vibrational equipment which had an ability to reverse cancers. And in spite of public advertisement going on Channel 9 across Australia, etc., he was given the cold shoulder, so much so at the end, close to retirement, he gave up and he said nobody wants to come and even learn what he has to offer for it to be carried on to the next generation, and he left for Ireland. That knowledge has gone astray, wasted. Fortunately, some of his patients have taken up the cudgel and started practicing it, but we don't know whether it will continue on or not, because we don't know whether that is in the right hands. Now, Dr. William Basinski, he is a scientist, he's not a medical doctor, who worked with urine extracts, and he found that extracts from urine had anti-neoplasmic qualities. And he isolated those and started using that as treatment for cancer patients and was getting fantastic results. As he started getting better results, at some point in time, the medical profession stopped him and said, oh, he's using urine, which is a waste product, etc. He cannot do that. It has to be synthesized, etc., etc. Since he was banned and he was stopped from practicing, he couldn't do anything. He went back to his research, created a synthetic molecule identifying the same thing, identical one, and today he is practicing in Texas area with a synthetic molecule. He knows, everybody knows that the synthetic molecule is not as effective as the natural molecule. Then there's a nurse in Canada who started treating patients for cancer beneficially, and then she was also put to rest, taken out of the picture. I don't mean killed, but stopped from practicing. Presently, Dr. Baba Amte, who is a leading physician who is working with tribals, has come up and said lemon peel for cancer, which is similar to vitamin C that Srimanuli had talked about. But he's okay, he's not been ostracized. In the ancient traditions, you have Lord Shiva or the Adi Yogi who introduced yoga, dhyana and Shivambu. Shushrut, medicine and surgery. Charaka was for medicine. Patanjali, preventive health and the Yoga Sutras. Shivambu Kalpavidhi by Lord Shiva. Vaidu dentist. Now, Vaidu dentist is a traditional dental knowledge which is incredibly powerful, but again, it has been stuck somewhere as part of the Indian educational scene, and dentists have not permitted the Vaidu dentists to come up as much as they should. Wang Di Neijing, who wrote the basic acupuncture Neijing treatise. When you go to martial arts, we have Bodhidharma, who the Shaolin monks insist that Bodhidharma brought martial arts to China. We have Kalaripattu, which is currently existent in Kerala and still flourishing. Then we have the person who I refer to as Godbole Guruji, who teaches Krishna Vidya. He doesn't teach right now because he's quite old, but he taught Krishna Vidya for the last 30-40 years in Pune, and there are a few people who know that martial art. Now there are a few Bharatiya innovators, Dr. P. Sethi and R. Sharma, who created the Jaipur foot as a prosthesis, and they brought the cost down to only $38. And today it weighs only about 400 grams, so it's very light as well. P. Gade in Madhya Pradesh, he's a young man who has come up with a robotic hand, and the robotic hand costs only $600. Again, something phenomenal. Recently achieved wheelchair that climbs stairs. Last but not the least, a big thank you to all these great pioneers and silent workers who contribute towards our welfare anonymously. May God give more people the strength and fortitude to continue such work with zeal and passion. A great salute to all of you, named and unnamed. If I have forgotten anybody or missed out, please forgive me. This was more an informative talk, so nothing to take home. I would just like to reiterate that I practice from Pune. I'm an acupuncturist naturopath. I teach scientific Surya Namaskar, and we also offer health advice for the last 5-6 years via internet. Thank you very much, and I look forward to catching up with you in the next video. Namaskar.
Thank you, Anand Bapat, for your valuable information on health. This series is a 15 to 22 part series on developing oneself into a healthy person. This series will educate, guide, and provide support through our online educational and support services to enhance your health. All queries are welcome on the following email.
Download app Health Siren for all health solutions at your doorstep.